Hello, it's Adam Morrison. When it comes to top-tier contracting, my go-to choice is McGilvery Environmental. I know a thing or two about excellence, and that's exactly what you'll find with Kip McGilvery and his team. They're not just any contractor, they're the best in Spokane and North Idaho. From start to finish, they ensure your project is completed with the highest quality results. With years of experience and expertise, they handle it all. New construction, meticulous repairs, asphalt paving for residential and commercial properties, excavation, and even environmental remediation. So why wait? Reach out to Kip McGilvery Environmental today by calling 208-556-6384 for your free estimate. Don't forget to mention my name, Adam Morrison, and experience the difference McGilvery Environmental brings to the table. Again, that's 208-556-6384, McGilvery Environmental. My number one choice for all my contracting needs. M4 CPA is a family-owned accounting firm passionate about helping businesses and their owners create a secure future for their families. They pride themselves on the quality of their work and put their clients first, ensuring they get the attention and care they deserve. Their mission is to provide exceptional accounting services to help you achieve your financial goals. M4 CPA is all about building long-term relationships based on trust, integrity, and transparency. With a team of experienced professionals, they offer personalized solutions to meet your needs. If you're a Perimeter listener, here's an exclusive offer for you. Mention the Perimeter podcast when you reach out to M4 CPA and get a free business consultation to assess your financial strategies. So, if you're looking for an accounting firm that truly cares about your business, trust M4 CPA. Accounting you can trust with a personal touch. Learn more at m4cpa.com. Welcome to the Perimeter, Season 5, Episode 5, presented by McGilvery Environmental, Idaho Central Credit Union, and M4 CPA. Interesting week. We just got done with the Oklahoma game. We'll obviously talk about that. Huge matchup versus Creighton tomorrow in the McCarthy Athletic Center, number 23 in the country. Then we go on the road to play Arizona State on campus, which I think is kind of cool. A lot of teams don't do that as much anymore. It's mostly neutral site. I'm so excited for that one. Obviously excited to get out to get some sunshine. But I like true road games before you get into West Coast Conference play. Obviously that's far away, but like I said, sometimes you play too many neutrals and then you have to go play St. Mary's down at St. Mary's or something. You're like, whoa, it's really loud in here. And so I respect Coach Few and Coach Hurley at Arizona State getting that series going. But, the game at the Spokane Arena, New America Veterans Arena.
That's right.
To give them their due, they paid the money for it. Was interesting because, obviously the last three, or this was the third meeting in a row that we've had a big-name opponent. Obviously, we played Pepperdine and Portland in there, mixed in between, but those are conference games and whatever.
Yeah.
It's cool that people get to go, but you kind of know what's going to happen early.
Yeah.
So it was kind of a question mark. Obviously Texas Southern was fine, but, we played well, but you don't really know. And Oklahoma was a team that plays very analytical. They had mostly new players, just like everybody else. So the preview was kind of difficult because you're like, well, it's kind of like Baylor last year where going into, you're like, well, they got a lottery pick and, BJ Edgecombe and they're obviously good, Scott Drew, but they haven't played together. So, and it was kind of the same thing with Oklahoma. So I thought our start was a little bit sluggish. We went with the original starting lineup that was supposed to be intended versus Texas Southern with Adam Miller instead of Tyon Grant Foster, who was terrific. I'll talk about him. And Achente, the two big lefties, and then Braden Smith. Got off to a little sluggish start defensively, missed a wide open coverage to start the game. They knocked down a three, and the emphasis, especially on my broadcast, was like guard the three line. They were 11 for 30 the first game, but they're very much like Alabama in that they just play very analytical. Porter Mosier is a great coach, but they kind of play them. Okay, I'll let you take some 15-footers, but we mostly want to get layups and threes. And if you have a three that traditionally may look like a bad shot, F it, take it. You know what I mean? Because, if you go to effective field goal percentage, and I've explained this, and new listeners or old listeners will understand, let's say you go 11 for 30, well, that's 33 points on 30 shots. That's over 1 point a shot. That's pretty good. It's not terrific percentage-wise, but if you look at it in totality, that's why the three is so valued, because it's worth 1.5 or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And over time, it it expands. Your point output is what I'm trying to get, points per possession. So that was a worry going in. I was kind of concerned with, okay, they had some traditional bigs, but are they going to play small, and what are we going to do with our two lefties defensively as far as how do we guard ball screen coverages, how do we guard their dribble, handoff action, zooms, and all those things. And I thought we did a pretty good job for the most of the game, but at the start we had a couple blown coverages, like I said, and they jumped out to get an 8-3 lead. We go on a nice little 6-0 run, 9-8, and then we led the rest of the game, which was kind of interesting. I thought we got a better whistle. I mean, we're at home, obviously, but Porter Mosier went bonkers the first 2 minutes, and he had every right. Was the first 2 foul calls on his big. The first one I didn't agree with, and then the block charge where the guy tried to fall down on EK. I thought that was the right call, but that was the second foul within 30 seconds, and he just lit the younger ref up. He just killed him. And I kind of agreed with it because the first one was pretty soft. If you're going to let 2 big guys battle, you can't call that, right? And and I like how they called the block charge fall down. I'm not a big fan of that, but I get guys just do it to play, right? So I thought, after we got through that little 8-3 run, we kind of controlled the pace. But I really think it was that second unit that kind of gave us that energy, right? Yeah. And it was Saint Superi, Mario Superi. I don't know why I can't Superi. I got to really learn that, but I'm just going to call Mario for easiness. Did a terrific job with that second unit, kind of getting them going in the first half, just pushing the pace. He ended up having 4 assists, was 1 for 2, but just played with a lot of passion. Grant Foster off the bench, Tyon, he's a matchup problem. He was terrific, had 10 points, 4-7 in the first half, had 4 rebounds as well, 1 assist, 1 steal, 1 block, kind of doing everything. I love the role for him, and I think he's slowly going to play more minutes. Not take over anybody else's, but they're going to extend him out a little bit. He's probably playing 20. There's probably going to be nights when he probably plays 26 just because he does a lot of good things. He actually banged in a couple threes or made 1 in the first half. Should have taken 2, or shot another one is what I'm trying to say. He turned down 1 in the second half. But I think it looks pretty good coming off his hands. I thought, Braden was solid. He was 4 for 10, missed a couple bunnies. Graham was terrific in the first half, 5 for 7, 10 points. Got that weird technical, and I was I was sitting right next to, obviously I'm right by the bench, and then the head of the officials is the guy, I always forget his name, but if you're a college basketball fan, you've seen him. He was the ref that reffed us in the UNC 2017 game, but now he's the head of officials, I think, for the West Coast Conference, or one of the head of the officials for the whole West Coast. Okay. All the leagues, the assigners, right? So these guys, it's an important job, but it's kind of when you retire, one of their head of the one of the better officials usually just becomes an assigner, and it's a great gig. You just go watch games, and then you obviously evaluate refs, but you have a feel of what refs belong with what coaches. And I know it sounds funny, but what styles, and so they try to do it that way.
Interesting, yeah.
And so Graham got a weird technical because he did an and one signal, which I didn't think it was taunting. I don't know what he said. And the guy gave him a bing right away. Yeah. And Coach Few is looking at the ref who gave it to him. The ref's I'll talk to you in a second because he's getting people off the floor. Then Coach Few turned around and chewed that assigner out right in his face, F-bombed him this is not last effing year, it's a clean slate. And he was right because that was a last year. Well, he complains because, remember, Graham had an issue with that last year, and he cleaned it up. And I like that he's emotional. I don't mind a technical every once in a while, but, it's one of those things you got to control your emotions. But I do like guys fist pumping and talking trash. I love it. And so, it got testy because the guy's I'm watching it right on film. You need to be quiet because he can't be yelling at the assigner too. It got testy. It was fun to listen to. I was oh, that's awesome. Hopefully they picked it up on the radio. But I think Coach Few, it was both parties were right.
Yeah,
because that was a quick trigger. He shouldn't get one on. It's not the NBA. You shouldn't get one on your rep or whatever. It's not like you see each other 6 times a year, like the Rasheed Wallace, where guys were like, oh my God, I'm just going to ding him just because I don't want to listen to him. You know what I mean? When he was in Portland, and those teams are awesome. But also, like, Coach Few's like, if he's just doing that, like, who cares? Or run by him and tell him to shut up.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's the other part. Like, hey, man, you're on a quick leash, so I'll ding you next time. Mm-hmm. And so that was the only part of the game in the first half that was kind of odd, but we were firing on all cylinders. Offensively, we hold them for 8 for 26, 3 of 14 from 3. We're up 49-30, so defensively we're terrific. We shoot 3 of 9 from 3, which is obviously not great from the free throw line, but plus 12 on the glass, which was awesome. Our 2 bigs were playing great. And then, like I said, the guys off the bench were good. Grant Foster and then Jalen Warley. Jalen Warley's been terrific. I'm going to get into him here in a bit when we talk about the totality of the game. But he's just his energy. He's going to fit into this role perfectly. I mean, I remember when he first transferred, the big thing you heard was can't shoot, which maybe is true. But you don't need guys that always make shot. I mean, that sounds funny, but you need guys that move the ball.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think people understand that. Like, in basketball, like, you obviously want guys capable. He's a capable 15-foot shooter. But also, you need guys that don't care about shooting jumpers and the ball doesn't stick to their hand every time they touch it on the perimeter. Sometimes he's got to throw it to the other side. And then you need guys that, like, dive on the floor, like Mike Hart's, and we've had plenty of those guys in our program, and fans love them, but they help you win. Yeah. And he's done that. Obviously, it's 2 games in, but his role here has been absolutely terrific. He's like an X factor. If he scores, it's a bonus. But what you need to do for us is get hands on basketball, make good, solid, like, little dump off passes, guard their best player, be a gnat, trip guys, not dirty, but you know what I mean? Like, just be one of those guys nobody wants to play against. So he was terrific, and I really thought the first half was a little bit surprising because I thought Oklahoma would be a little bit better offensively. Mm-hmm. But I take some of that with our defense was good. And so I was really impressed with our guys, just, defensively and how they were flying around. But like I said, that second unit really got us going. They were awesome. So it was good to see. I mean, let's look at our second unit. Yeah, St. Cyprien was plus 10. Jalen Warley was plus 15. Tyon was plus 9. So that second unit really got us going. Mm-hmm. Steele was in there. He was 0 for 1, but he was in that group too. He was plus 8 on the plus minus. So I really think it was that second unit really got us going. So it was terrific. Then going into the second half, obviously the game wasn't completely out of balance. We didn't really extend the lead too much. They got it within 12, kind of like where it was like, there's 5 minutes left, guys. We got to get across the finish line. And that's natural. And they made a nice 9-0 run to get to within that. So we were up obviously 21 at the time and kind of in cruise control. But I just was overall impressed with, obviously our 2 lefties inside were good. Graham goes 19 for 11. 19 and 11, 13, and then Braden Huff 13 and 9 rebounds, 4 offensive, 6 of 17 though. So Brian Michelson after interviewed with us and he made a good point. He's like, yeah, it's our bigs played good, but they were only 15 of 34. That's never going to happen very often. You're like, oh, actually, that wasn't a very good game. Right. They played good, but like statistically, and Braden just missed like 6 or 7 like bunnies. He missed like 3 in the first half, which was it's uncharacteristic, and you could just see him like roll his eyes because it was like, oh, those always go in. And he missed a couple in the second half too. So, but he ended up having a good game. But it's one of those where let's just hit back rim or just 1 inch off the corner of the backboard and then it rolls off the rim type of deal. But he ended up having a really good game. Tyon was terrific. Like I said, he ended up with 14 and 7. Steele knocked down a 3, so his minutes were good. Mario played good again. Continued that in the second half. I had 8 points, 4 rebounds, 6 assists, only 2 turnovers, 3 steals, and a block shot. So he was terrific. And then Jalen Warley, had 13 and 8 in 22 minutes, 6 and 9. He had some great moves in transition, tip-ins, getting his hand on basketballs. Like, he's deceptively long defensively. And I said it on the air. I can't remember if I said it on this, but he's like a poor man's Anton. Obviously, Anton was a better scorer and more skilled, and that's not a knock on either of them. But he does similar things that Anton does. Like you can guard everybody, makes the right play, can score, the little in and outs around the rim, you know what I mean? Tiny little moves, all those things. So really impressed with him early on the season. Inocente was fine. He was 1 for 2. But he's in there for defense, and he was terrific. I mean, he really bothered their best players on the perimeter. So we held them to, let's see what the final line was, under 40%, 23 of 58 from the field, so terrific. 6 of 26 from 3 had to be addressed. We can't let this team make shots. You got to chase them off the line. We did exactly that. And then we win the rebounding battle. Hats off to Oklahoma coming back a little bit. We ended up winning by 7, which is obviously terrific as well. Not great from the free throw line for us, 5 for 11, but that's something we can work on. But the 22 assists and only 7 turnovers is absolutely terrific, especially for an early team that hasn't played together. Obviously, the 2 lefties have played together a ton, but that means the ball's moving around. It's not getting sticky. It looks like Gonzaga basketball. It always does, but you never know with these turnover rosters. And then the big passing with our guys, it's just so good. I didn't understand that from Oklahoma. Like, I get trying to do big doubles early, and the thought is if you double with a small, then 6'11", 6'10" guy's going to pass right over it.
Yeah.
But they were going to the big, and our guys were just throwing playing like little kid basketball, volleyball, and holding it up and laying it in. But it's easier said than done. So I'm not hammering their scheme. It just, I thought they'd get out of it after like the 3rd or 4th layup. Where it's like, there's the other guy, the other lefty, and they just throw it over his head and boom, and he just literally just lay it up like on a small hoop. So, but overall, great start to the season. That's going to be a tournament resume win. That team's going to be good. I mean, they made the tournament last year going 6-12 in the SEC, and that's not a knock. It's just that's how good that league is. But they're good, and they went 20 games last year. They'll get it figured out. This is a hard place to go across the country. Blah blah. We got to give credit, Oklahoma too. Like it's like they'll look back and be like, okay, yeah, that's a tough one, but that's a tournament resume type team. They competed. So overall we win by 15. I was thoroughly impressed. Just kill them in the paint, 58-20, which is a huge number, obviously. Then 38-8 from the bench.
Yeah.
So yeah, a great output. We forced 16 turnovers for them. Big number for Oklahoma, though, only 5 assists. So that was kind of interesting. Ball got sticky, and they played a lot of one-on-one, especially on the perimeter. Pack and Brown, they were good. They had 21 and 18, but it kind of got to where they were just chucking up shots. Not bad shots, but that's all they could do is take one-on-one 15, 18-footers with a contested hand. You're probably not going to win.
Yeah.
But very good basketball team. Impressed with them as well. But our guys were terrific. The atmosphere was great. That game's starting to be a lot more fun just because more people get to go.
Yeah, no, it was...
the student section is full. Yeah, I'm just always curious to why isn't there somebody told me David's Pizza closes at 10. What are you doing?
It was
I'm
weird.
just saying, why would you be open for after the game? You just print money.
Yeah, there was
nothing open.
I walked across the park and went to O'Doherty's afterwards to meet my family, and I was like, there's nothing. This is it, and everybody went to O'Doherty's.
Yeah,
and I was like, because across the street, there's no more.
The season ticket or whatever.
Season ticket, and then I guess there is there is a bar across the street next to, I forget what it's called. But yeah, it's kind of dead. It's dead.
It's dead. Yeah, you feel bad because you're people are tuned up and wanting to have fun, and obviously it's just one-off game. But you're also okay, so during concerts and Zags and hockey games, you wouldn't just stay open until midnight and just slang $8 Coors Lights.
Right. It seems like an
$8 slice of pizza. What are you gonna do when you get done with the game? You're gonna be like, well, I already spent $22 for a slice of pizza and a beer. Let's just add on to the tab. You know what I mean? You know how it is. When you go out, especially with your friends or family, you're like, damage is already done. Let's keep going. But anyway, yeah, terrific game.
I want to ask about the game and the flow itself, and the substitutions and
Yeah.
What do we know about this team so far? I feel like it's kind of clear as mud.
Yeah. So there's going to be some. It's going to be a year where there's some games where guys play a lot and some don't. Like that happened last year with like Ben Gregg and Ajayi.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then sometimes Battle didn't play as many minutes as people would think. So I think that it's kind of a week-to-week thing. Doesn't mean we won't have continuity, but there's a base that he's going to play. And then that 7, 8, 9 spot, minutes-wise, will fluctuate, in my opinion.
Okay.
Obviously, the two lefties are going to play a ton.
Yep.
Braden Smith is going to get the first crack at it, but if the unit's not going good, then he's going to bring Saint Cyprien off the bench. And he's looked good the first 2 games.
Yeah.
I mean, he's downhill, plays a little crazy, falling over, like doing the Euro stuff, and that's not a knock, but like the flopping and stuff, I don't mind that stuff. You know what I mean? Like it's hoops. And he has passion. His shot looks fine. It's a little bit stiff, but not in a bad way, but it's like a set shot. Who cares? He's going to have open shots. Then he gets downhill. He makes really good. The 2-man game with him and Braden are really good on that short roll. Like he's hit him like we're at the 14-foot mark, that little 8-foot, 6-foot bounce pass. It's harder than people think.
Yeah.
And then lets Braden go the one dribble, operate like we used to do with Domus, with BC. Like that's a hard play to make. You got to have a skilled guard to do that.
Right.
And that's part of Braden's skill set, but you got to get a guy to be able to make that pass, and then he's got to be able to turn the corner every once in a while and make a floater or lay it up, so they can't just key on the roll. I thought Adam Miller looked fine. He ended up being 3 for 10, but 2 for 7 from 3. Obviously, 3 for 10 is not great, but every time he shoots, it looks like it's going in. So he's a great shooter. He shot 40% for Arizona State last year, so I'm not worried about that. I thought Steele was fine. He only got up 3 shots, but his minutes look fine. Like, you know what I mean? So I think it's one of those deals that the point guard position, the leash is a little bit shorter than we've expected in the last couple of years. But it's obviously early. And so I think, Saint Cyprien will get a quick go if that first unit is not doing well. But if the first unit is doing well, I think he's going to stay in longer. We're talking about Braden Smith. So other than that, I think the lineup is kind of how it's going to be. I think, like I said, he'll play Tyon a little bit more once he's more in shape, because he's just a difference maker. And then Jalen Warley's earned minutes already. I know it's early, but it's like he's got to be on the floor, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's just on the little things. And eventually teams will be like, okay, you better box him out, and don't let him be a factor. Don't let him get tip-ins. Don't let him score his 8 points off garbage stuff, because that stuff adds up and it wins ball games. So that might change, because the teams will start scouting and recognizing it. But there's the point guard position is the one that's going to continue we'll see as the season goes on.
Yeah,
is what I'm trying to say, because it looks like. It depends how the unit is doing, and that's Coach Fuse is going to rock with that unit, which is totally normal. But it also means, like, if you're in that first unit, and if I'm the point guard, I'm like, hey, MFers, let's just go. I don't want to get off the floor, so let's start off good. Because Coach Fuse is kind of a coach, and I've played for coaches like this, and I think I personally, when I coach, even at the youth level, I put more pressure on my point guards, and it always goes back to it's their fault, even if the team's not doing well. And I know that seems unfair, but if the ball's in your hands constantly, and usually you get the leash to make turnovers and stuff, then I'm going to be harder on you to get everybody organized, to get everybody energized, to echo what I'm saying. All great coaches are like that. I'm not saying I'm a great coach, but like that's where I've learned that.
Right.
Is my point, right? Is playing, I played for Larry Brown. He kill point guards, but he's a Hall of Fame coach. Obviously, Phil Jackson, and then Coach Fuse is going to be in the Hall of Fame as well. They get on their point guards.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's like your quarterback. Like if your quarterback doesn't play well, you probably don't win. Same thing with point guards. If your point guards don't play well, you're not going to make deep run in the NCAA tournament. You just never will. It doesn't mean they have to scoring, but it's just like you got to be coach on the floor, extended. So that's where I think that the biggest changes or fluctuation minute-wise might happen. Now, has Braden Smith been fine? Yeah, I thought he's been fine. I think he just that first. Do you remember that first 3 he gave up to Pack?
Yeah,
Coach Few lit him up. That was a scouting 3. He supposed to not help on the strong side.
Yeah.
I wasn't obviously during their scouting report, but it was pretty obvious. Don't help off this guy.
But then they hit two threes quick.
Two threes quick,
Yeah.
and the first one was a blown assignment. I think it was a DHO with like Braden or somebody, Huff, and he just stayed in the paint like all bigs do, and that's one that's annoying when you play with bigs. You're like, thanks, dude. Like, just let me get drilled, and then you just stand there and go, "Well, hope he misses." Like, no, man. Like,
Yeah.
that's what it looked like. So they get it. The number 35 gets a wide open three, drills it, and you're like, oh, okay. But then there was a strong side. I think, like a zero ball screen in the middle of the floor. I think that was what it was. But he overhelped on the strong side, just exactly what they want you to do. And it was just a kick out, stand out three. And Coach Few killed him. But it was like, that's the easiest job. If they tell you don't have to help, it's awesome. You just stand there and you don't have to do anything. It's not your fault if they,
right.
You know what I mean? Like, you told me not to help, so you just guard your guy and you don't have to do anything. Like, it's better. So I think that wasn't a good start. But I thought, in stretches, he's looked good going downhill and stuff. So, like, my point is, that's where if there's people are wondering why the minutes, are the quick leash, is just because of how the unit is playing, is
Right.
what I'm trying to get at. So we'll see how that goes. But as far as the other bench guys have been terrific. Davis Fogel didn't play in that game. I was hoping he'd get in some, end of the game minutes. So we'll see, but he'll have an opportunity this year to make an impact on a game. Dejana looked all right when he got in as well, the other big lefty.
Yeah.
So I really like this team, man. We moved up a couple spots to 21, or from 21 to 19 in the country.
Yeah.
It's a great win. It most likely will be a tournament win or a tournament resume, quad 2 or whatever, quad 1 in that realm. And can't believe we're already talking about that. Like, we talked about it at length last year. I was like, God, I'm sick of this. But yeah, it's a good start to the season, obviously, with a terrific test in Creighton coming in, number 23 in the country, who's only 1-0.
The Perimeter will be right back after a word from our sponsor.
It's time for Home Team Rewards. Zag fans, get your Bulldog branded ICCU Premier Rewards Visa credit card, the only card where you can earn rewards for everyday purchases while giving back to Gonzaga University. Choose from a Visa Rewards card with a lower rate or a Premier Rewards card with maximum rewards. With no annual fees, card control, and next-level security, you can spend smart from tap to app. Zags, rejoice! Find your card at iccu.com/GoZags on approved credit.
With a terrific test in Creighton coming in, number 23 in the country, who's only 1-0. They've only played one game, obviously, so they beat, who is this, South Dakota by 16. Had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys in double figures. It seems typical. One of their guys, Freeman, in 19 minutes scored 19 points, 9 for 11 off the bench, so obviously that's going to be something we're going to have to take care of. But it's Coach McDermott's built a program very similar to ours. The only thing they're missing is like Final Four runs. They're no different than us as far as, success from a smaller school. Coming from, I think they're located in Omaha, but like a part of the country where that's, like in Spokane, this is the only game in town. This is what I'm trying to get at. So like they get diamond in the rough players. They've had NBA guys. So a very similar program. A lot of respect for Coach McDermott. He's done a terrific job. It's usually a really good offensive team. Like he's known that's kind of his deal. Obviously they tough and rebound, but he's a very good X and O guy, and he's a good like adapting. Because he used to run kind of stuff we used to run for his son who played in the league for 12 years, where they do wide pin downs, back screen them, flex action. Now they run zooms. So he changed his style to survive and thrive. So this is going to be a very, very good test for us, in the McCarthy Center. So hopefully it gets loud tomorrow night. But they played Iowa State in an exhibition. So this might be a better, comp, because Iowa State's ranked 16th, but obviously it didn't matter. It's an exhibition game.
Right.
But they beat them by 13. So, take what you want from it, but they have they're similar to us. They're going to have multiple guys that can score, probably not one key guy. Obviously, we have the two lefties, but we don't have a 20, 25-point game to score. We have a bunch of 15 to 12s and a few 18s, you know.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like in that realm where it makes it really tough for you to stop. But it's a team, like I said, that usually likes to get out and run, shoots a lot of threes, but it's not wild, if that makes sense. They don't take bad ones, but they're analytical too, and they take good ones. And he lets his guys kind of play. Obviously, Andrew Nemhard or Ryan played there for that 1 year,
right.
2 years, and he was terrific there. You know, it's just a great program. And so I think it's really cool that we're playing on campus because we played them, I think they're 5 years ago. I think it was right after COVID. If my memory serves, we played them in like a weird like 10 a.m. game too because it was a TV slot. So it was like 10 a.m. our time. It was like a Sunday or something. It was something like Saturday or something like that. But me and Huddy were laughing because like their whole student section, like half of them had beers in their hands. It was awesome. Like, yes. Awesome. And they were live and we won. It was a great game, but it was like, oh yeah, they don't care. Like it's
right.
a cool arena. Omaha is actually a cool town. Like, believe it or not, like I had a good time there and the people are nice and there's plenty of stuff to do. So I just have a lot of, respect for this program. And like I said, the deep dive is hard to do. They only played once.
Right.
I could give you, like I said, they had 5 guys scoring double figures. They're very similar to us. They run. They're going to have some bigs. They're going to have some probably unique double team packages for us. Interesting note. We're 13 for 44 from 3 on the year. That's something that we got to keep an eye on. It's not very good. We go 7 for 22, and then I think 6 for 22 the other night.
Yeah.
So that's something that we had to talk about at length last year, which got annoying, but it was a key factor in a lot of our losses.
Yeah.
And we only, we had more losses than we normally do, but we're obviously still a good team. But it is a factor. If you can't punish teams for trying to overly help inside, then there's going to be nights that you might not win, or you let games get closer than they should be. So that's something that we got to keep a look at. I mean, obviously, Steel Venters is a good shooter. Adam Miller didn't have a great night, but he's a good shooter. I think St. Supre's got a capable as well. And then I think Inocente made a 3 capable, but he needs to go, 1 for 3 or 2 for 3 from 3 every game because he's going to get those open corner ones. But it is something to look at, man, because, like I said last year, the games, what was it? Oregon State, we were terrible from 3, losing overtime to them. You know what I mean? Just some of these games are like Santa Clara, too. It was like, if we make 3 of them and get our percentage to like 32%, we were like in the 20s in some of those games, we win.
Yeah.
So I've said it before, and I said it on a broadcast, like it's a make or miss league. It's an NBA term, but it's so true. Like all the actions are good, and they're getting some good looks. You just got to knock them down. Because I've had some people like, well, how do you fix that? I'm like, you don't. You just got to make the shot.
Yeah.
This is like, I've just actually, this is a little bit off topic, but I've been watching that starting 5 with my son. It's like Kevin Durant, James Harden. There's a wonderful clip of Kevin Durant. Like, he talks about defense and then offense. And he's like, anybody can move their feet and shuffle their feet and yell and do all this stuff. He's like, if you don't make shots, you don't win anything.
Right.
So he's like, I don't care what anybody says. Offense wins championships. And he's obviously one of the greatest offensive players of all time. But he's alluding to the fact, he goes, that's why I work on my game so much, because he's like, you have to make shots. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Everybody can play defense. Can you make shots contested? Can you make tough shots? Can you make pressure shots? It's no different than at the college level. Got to make 3. So that's something to keep an eye on. For the last 5 minutes, I've been telling how great our team is. 13 and 44 is not good.
Yeah, no, it's not.
And so against Creighton, obviously they're, like I've said, they're a well coached team, terrific program. They're gonna probably dare some of our guys to make shots because they're gonna say, all right, let's not let the 2 lefties kill us, and let's see if Inocente, Steel Venters, I know he's known as a 3-point, but guys who haven't made him yet in the season, can they make these 3s?
Yeah. And
so I'll be interested to see schematically what they do early defensively, because I always talk about it at the start of the game, like, okay, I usually wait for the first 3 possessions, and I talk about it on the radio, trying to explain, okay, right when he caught it, they went, well, this last game, the first possession, they doubled off Braden Smith from the strong side. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Okay. And then the next possession, whoever made the wing entry, it wasn't Braden Smith. They went big to big. So the vig was, we're going to double off Braden because we don't think he can make a three yet. And
Yeah.
you see what I'm saying?
That's what you're
But
saying,
then
yeah.
everybody else were doubling big to big. So that's what I'm saying. Like Creighton will have some sort of plan that way. Or some teams go, okay, the two lefties are obviously terrific, but can they score 30 each and beat us, 60? And they, so let's just hold everybody else to blow their numbers. Sometimes that's a strategy too, and some people live with it. And so we'll see if they single coverage. My guess is they don't because it's too difficult. But obviously, if we don't make threes, it's going to be tough. It's a very good basketball team. They're always good. Creighton's always good. Always admired that program. So I'm excited for that game. It's another quad one opportunity. Creighton plays in the Big East, which is a tough-ass conference, and they always, ended up being an 8 seed or below, like 6 to 8 seed, and they're always like, you don't want to play them in the NCAA tournament. They're one of those scary ones.
Right, yeah.
Because he can coach and he can scheme you, and then they usually have guys that are like NBA type or at least professional, they're pros, but you never heard of them, or they're not, big-time recruits, but they've get better, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And so they're very similar to what we are as a program. Without the 2 Final Four runs, you know what I mean. So I don't know. I'm looking forward to it. Should be loud. Should be a good one.
Yeah, it's gonna be. It's always like I feel like these early games are very. You just learn so much about the team and like the flow of it, and we're gonna keep on learning throughout the month of November because of just who will be playing.
Yeah.
And but yeah, it's fun. It was weird leaving that Oklahoma game and being like. It was a good game, but like there was something that like we still didn't come completely together.
Yeah, no,
like,
I 100% agree.
Yeah,
yeah,
so.
like the shooting was all right, but like it's like, oh man, we still didn't have that like 12-point run where everybody's going crazy. But there were some nice dunks. Tyon had that baseline lob, and then he had a putback too, I think. So it was an exciting game, but we didn't have that like a nail in the coffin run.
Right.
That we've had in the past, but also like this team's still new, and if we're complaining about a 15-point win,
right? Yeah,
we shut the podcast down and just
that's so true,
and just get it over with. But yeah, it was good. So we'll talk about Arizona State quickly. They're 75 in the Ken Palm. Unique team. We blew them out last year, if my memory serves.
Yeah.
They always play hard. Obviously, Coach Hurley knows what he's doing. He goes pretty animated on the sideline, so that's always just fun to watch. It's not, it's just fun to watch because he had the way he gets into the officials and stuff like that. Kind of a program that's, kind of almost, trying to ascend, but just kind of like not stuck, but like middle of the pack usually, but they get good recruits. I'm just talking about last year to this year. So I think it's going to be a tough game. Anytime you go on the road again to a Power 5 or Power 4 or whatever you want to call it now, it's going to be tough. They get lit in Tempe.
Right.
So I'm looking forward to seeing how the students are, right? And they draw well at those games for their program. So it's going to be a fun matchup. Similar to, Creighton, shoot a lot of threes, a lot of athletes. I think just a little less robotic and as far as like execution, and that's not a knock, but they play a little bit more free. But again, they've only played a couple games, and again, it's one of those where you just kind of have to be like, okay, we think they're going to be like this. That's what's so weird about doing this, and the people listening, like, I hope you don't know that like me and Brennan are not being like lazy, but there's so much turnover. Right. It used to be like, okay, these guys, there's 4 of them were sophomores last year, and there was a good junior, and they played 32 games together. Now it's like, okay, there's 2 returners, one didn't play, and the other one played 12 minutes a game, but then the guy that came from the Patriot League is supposed to be really good, but we don't know. You know what I mean? Like, and you're just like, how do you piece it together?
Yeah.
So you just kind of have to like go game by game and just kind of go based off what the coaches kind of run and the style they want to play.
Yeah.
Because like Baylor last year, like if you looked at them on paper, like when we played them, like I said, they had a lottery pick. They had the kid from Duke. Then all this talent around him, and we blew him out by 30. But if you're looking on paper, it was like, how are we going to stop all these guys? Well, they haven't played together. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they didn't look very good, but they were a good team. But they just were so early that they just looked disjointed. But they were great towards the end of the year because they finally got games under their belt. But again, I applaud Coach Few and Coach Hurley for making this series happen. It's cool. Obviously, it's cool to go to Phoenix area, Tempe, and stuff like that. So it's a nice break for the fellas. And looking forward to the game. But yeah, it's a good program. There's 75 in the Ken Palm, so top 100 is not bad. What was the quad 1, quad 2? Was it like top 80 that turns into a quad 2?
Yeah,
It's something like that.
It depends on if you're on the road versus neutral versus at home. But it's I believe top 80 is a quad 1. And if it's on the road, I believe it's
100, maybe 100 or something like that.
Something like that. But I should look that up and get those stats correct. But this is a quad 1 win. I mean, not win.
But opportunity.
Opportunity.
Yep. So again, this is a terrific week for us to have tournament resume type wins. I like where we're at as a club. I like that we're under the radar. I think 19 is good. I think part of that is, we don't have familiarity with some of the new personnel, but I think we'll keep climbing. I don't really care about record or AP and all that stuff. I never have, but it matters for seeding eventually. It is cool when you have the little number next to your name for like TV and stuff and radio. But other than that, I think 19 is fine. The years when we've been top 10 and then people complain if we move down 2 spots, it gets annoying. It's just like, who cares? But, fans are fans, and God bless them. But it's like, I don't give a shit if there's 6 to 12. Who cares, man? Like, well, why did they move up? And it's like, I don't know, and I don't care, and it doesn't matter. Like, there's a like a algorithm or like a formula to it, man. Who knows? Look it up.
Yeah, and I believe AP and coaches poll are voted on by the writers and by the coaches. And then that's why we talk about Ken Palm, because it's based off of analytics.
Yeah.
But,
and it's supposed to be, because we're 8 in the Ken Palm. Remember last year it was supposed to be tried and true, and then we were going through all the the teams that were like 32 in the Ken Palm had made the NCAA tournament because we were going scorched earth. Like, what if we don't win the tournament and blah, blah, blah. And then we were like, what were we, like 12 or something like that?
12, yeah.
12, and then we get an 8 seed. So you're like, well, does the Ken Palm matter? Because that's what they kept telling us.
Right.
The whole effing time. And then you're like, well, then do we stop doing the Ken Palm? But it's more analytical and it's more scientific based than just writers. Not that they don't know what they're doing, but like they don't watch all the games.
Right.
They just look at if you won, they go, oh, okay, and then send in their vote. So like me and you last year were like, we look like assholes because we were just like throwing out numbers like, we're 12th, we're getting in for sure. We're probably going to be a 5 seed, 4 seed, 8. And you're like, oh shit, who knows, man? But anyway, so you got those sponsors?
Yeah, I do. Quick? I got So our M4 CPA stat of the week is Gonzaga is 9-1 at the Spokane Arena since 2007, with the last loss being to number 8 Memphis.
Yes.
And there was like a big gap where we did not play at the arena. But I brought up the stat because we are continually scheduling a game at the arena, and it's good for the fans. And like I feel like the every year the vibe gets a little bit. Well, I guess nothing's ever gonna be Kentucky.
Yeah, the Kentucky game
unless
was
they bring
crazy.
Duke here.
Yeah, the Kentucky game was lit.
But I was just like, I think there's like some negative feeling sometimes about playing a neutral site in Spokane, and we're good at Spokane.
Yeah, I think previously, so when I played, we always played a game there. We played Georgia my freshman year, won in overtime. That was lit. That's the only charge I ever took was that game in my entire career. I took 1 in high school and 1 in college. No, not even lying. Damian Wilkins ran over me. I didn't mean to, and it was a big play in overtime. And I was like, wow, I can't believe I did that. I didn't mean to. Like, he just literally ran me over. Then we played Eastern. We'd always play Eastern like on New Year's.
Oh, yeah.
And then there was 1 year, I think the previous year before I got there, before my freshman year, they like almost went to overtime with Eastern. And that's when Ray Giacoletti was there. Like he got him to NCAA, like Ray Jack and coach.
Yeah.
And that's when they were sneaky good. They would get all the good, local players that were hungry. You know what I mean? That were like good players that just didn't get recruited by Gonzaga, but like hungry, good program. And so it was always a sneaky game. And so Coach Few hated playing it because it was like, what do we have to gain? And they have everything to gain. And you're playing a local rival, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Like it's the WSU talk that we had last year. If remember I was talking about like why don't we play WSU? It's like, why? Now that we're in conference, you'll see them every time. But like, why? We don't have to.
Yeah.
And it's not a nose in the air thing. It's literally like, what's the positive game anyway? And so the disdain for that started there.
Yeah.
Okay. So then he always felt like, and I felt it, that it wasn't a great shooting gym. I played there in high school, so I was used to it. But it was a weird backdrop back then. And as funny as it sounds, they had different rims. I know that sounds funny, but there were tight rims. The lighting was different. It felt empty. It was always cold.
Yeah.
And so like it was like, oh shoot, we have to call this a home game. Like, and that's the other part he didn't like. Like we were taking away a game in McCarthy, which where a real advantage was, still is, but like even more so back then when the Kennel Club was.
Yeah.
Private and they were getting lit. That was a real home advantage. So I think that's where the gap happened. But I'm glad he, and Gonzaga decided, hey, let's get back in there and got Calipari, who's his buddy with Kentucky. And then obviously his buddy was Scott Drew. And then, Oklahoma's probably like, yeah, just come our way. And I think we probably play in Oklahoma City or somewhere like that. Great.
Yeah.
And they'll fill that place up, you know what I mean? And they'll be loud, and so it'll be great.
Is it like when we're scheduling these home and homes or neutral and neutral, like it seems like it's when we bring these teams, like we almost have to play at a bigger space than
It's true.
playing that.
That's why
kennel.
That's where the argument, and that's why it's cool Creighton's coming in. That's why it's cool Arizona's coming in. The on campuses are better for college basketball, but they don't bring as much money in. And
Right.
I don't care what anybody says. Well, it's always about money. Yeah, it is. You got to pay bills.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're not just pocketing it and putting it in a CD and collecting interest. They're paying bills.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like that's how it's done. And then especially too with TV executives, they I don't know this for sure, but it's common. Or it's just simple logic. They want to broadcast a game with probably a full arena. You know what I mean? It just feels bigger.
Yeah.
I think that has something to do with it. And then sometimes it's just simple scheduling too. Like, all right, here's your TV slot, your time. Either you come or you don't, or we're not putting you on. But you need to have it here. You know what I mean? They make all the decisions. So I think having that in their arena is terrific. But again, like it feels more basketball friendly in there now than it used to. I don't know what it is. It's not just because we won in there, but just me being in the arena, I'm like, this feels more like a hoop arena than it used to. The backdrop used to be different. Like I said, it was cold.
Yeah.
It just was, the presentation sucked.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I had some big games in there in high school. I had good games in there. That Georgia game, I think my freshman year, I think I had like 17 or something off the bench. Played all of overtime. Like played good. And my sophomore year, I had like 28 and a half one time. That's when Coach Few first saw me as a recruit. You know what I mean? Like I've shot well there, but it was not a great shooting gym.
Yeah.
And you could go. I know guys who played in the state B tournament, and they're like, yeah, we like the atmosphere, but it sucks. So to go, that's a long-winded answer, but that's why there was that gap. Was early on we were playing those type of teams that we had nothing to gain, because we played Washington State one year randomly too. Like, do you remember that? Like we played them randomly, and it was like a throw together game. And Coach Few was, I don't think, mad about it, but he wasn't excited because it was one of those where like, all right, it's our home game, or it's their home game, vice versa, and nobody really has an advantage, and then we're playing like a local rival where they have nothing to lose.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I mean, it doesn't make sense to the schedule like Eastern Washington State, because like then you're just going to put a bunch of Gonzaga fans and Washington State fans.
Yes.
Like, and we don't want to go into of environment where we're at home, but like there's like a crowd of like that's 30% Eastern
100%.
fans.
Yeah, 100%, and that's what it is. And I know people don't like to hear it, but it's just, you know, on this show we try to tell the truth and why and how, you know, the things with college basketball and especially Gonzaga. But it's like, you know, if you don't have to put yourself in harm's way, why?
Right.
You know, then you get idiots who are like, well, that's a soft mentality. F your mentality, man. Who cares?
This is all about making the tournament.
It's all about making the tournament, and we've played those teams in the past, and we've graduated upwards.
Definitely.
It doesn't mean they're not great programs. I always root for Eastern.
Yeah.
I hope they win the Big Sky when they're, you know, playing. You know, and then those years that they've made it, I'm like, that shouldn't have been. That year, 2 years ago, we talked about it. They lost in the first round. They were like undefeated for it was David Riley's team before they went to Wazoo. They had like the longest winning streak in the country, and then they have to play a first round game in the Big Sky tournament, and then they lose. And it's like, this is why you give your first and second seed a first round bye.
Yeah.
So if you're the Big Sky, you want them to make the tournament. They probably don't get a 16 seed or 15. They probably get a 14 or 13. Then they have a chance to win the effing game.
Yeah.
Not that they couldn't, you know what I'm saying? But that's when, like, I've heard people like, well, Gonzaga and St. Mary's, it's unfair that they get a bye. It's like, no, it's not. You want your best team, because if they win, there's a percentage that every school or the conference gets, and they divvy it out. So you like when St. Mary's makes the tournament, we're like, come on, we get more money. You know what I mean? Like, same thing when San Francisco made it. So when Eastern was on that run, we were rooting for them because they're local teams, but we don't want to play you because we don't care.
Right.
So there you go. We'll root for you, but we don't need to play you.
Well, let's get into our foundation player of the week, presented by McGilvery Environmental. I did not put a name down here.
Yeah.
But who in the Oklahoma game did you see that was like, this guy is on the rise and he's really representing Gonzaga well?
Jalen Warley was terrific. He's been terrific the first two games.
Yeah.
Huge fan of him. It's just the little plays, and everybody calls them Zag plays, and it's kind of cliche, but it's true. Diving on the floor, getting your hands on balls, you know, pushing a guy in the back, and then he has that beautiful in and out floater in transition. And he tips another one in, then he has another kind of floater off the glass in the second half. You know, his line was terrific.
Yeah.
Obviously, our two lefties were great. Graham's 1911 was terrific, but he's going to get picked for this award or whatever it is.
Yeah, I mean, it's just,
yeah. I guess I'm trying to go with guys who made the most impact, not necessarily on the stat sheet. So he was terrific, and I really think he's going to steal minutes from guys just because he's playing so good. And again, he's an X factor.
Yeah.
You know, and it's a great role to have because it's like, all right, whatever I do offensively is going to look like a bonus, which is awesome.
Yeah.
But then if I go 0 for 2, but I get 8 rebounds and get my hands on balls, I'm still on the floor. Nobody's going to give a shit. And they're going to be like, man, you were still impactful. Like, it's an awesome role. Like,
what did you think about him? Like, we were getting pressured a lot by Oklahoma in the second half, and then he and maybe the first half too. Obviously, we were getting pressured, but like he started taking the ball up the court.
Yeah, see, that's the thing, man. He like has that ability. He's a weird combo of like a small forward, but he can play the 4, but then he's a guard. So like whenever teams do that, it's like, sweet, our 4-man is just going to take it and bring it up.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, I just you need guys like him on your team.
Yeah.
And even if he doesn't score big for us, just the little things, and I'm always giving him praise on the radio because I'm trying to obviously set the scene. But I'm like, oh, that play by Jalen right there was terrific. Like just tipping that ball or like boxing that guy out on the weak side so Braden can go get it or Graham could go. You know what I mean? Like just those little things, or somebody rolls and he like holds a guy for half a second, but it jams up the thing. You know what I mean? Like the little basketball things. So I thought he was definitely the foundation player of the week.
Yeah. I totally. I every time he's on the court, you can't kind of take out your eyes off him.
Yeah, he just does all the little things.
High motor.
It's terrific.
So next we got our Ask Adam segment presented by
The Perimeter will be right back after a word from our sponsor.
It's time for Home Team Rewards. Zag fans, get your Bulldog branded ICCU Premier Rewards Visa credit card, the only card where you can earn rewards for everyday purchases while giving back to Gonzaga University. Choose from a Visa Rewards card with a lower rate or a Premier Rewards card with maximum rewards. With no annual fees, card control, and next-level security, you can spend smart from tap to app. Zags, rejoice! Find your card at iccu.com/GoZags on approved credit.
Yeah, he just does all the little things.
High motor.
It's terrific.
So next we got our Ask Adam segment presented by Idaho Central Credit Union. And the first one is a ref question, and it comes from On a Clear Day off of YouTube. And he said he's asked this question, or have had this question for the last couple of years, and hopefully someone will educate me. How do refs get to be refs? Do they go to ref school? Do they used to be players who want to be coaches? Where do they come from? And
That's a good question.
we talk a lot about refs on here.
Yeah.
And early in the season, like we've had some weird calls, and but where do like NCAA refs come from?
So usually the way it works is you start in high school. Obviously, you got to get a base of high school. I don't think it's a requirement, but how else are you going to get games? So it's like, any umpiring, whatever you're probably doing, Legion, blah, blah, blah. Same thing in high school or college. And so then what usually happens, and I've seen it, is they go to these camps. So like, I've told people this, and this, and I've coached my daughter's Northwest Blazers, a terrific girls basketball team in the region, right? And we were on the Under Armour circuit, and these are 10 girls that are all D1 commits. And I'm not even like making it up. Like these are all high level. So it's a really good circuit is what I'm trying to get at. So you get really good refs, but they have camps. So these refs will be at your games, and there'll be 4 refs, but 3 on the court. And then there'll be an evaluator. And these evaluators are usually like in the lower conferences, but they're looking for guys and girls that can ref the high level. You play 8-minute quarter, like everything's up to board. You know what I mean? Like they're doing everything just like they would. And then they evaluate them. And then if they are good enough, usually they get invited. And then you work your way up from JUCO or whatever it may be. Then you get a chance in the whatever conference. Now, what happened last year was, if you notice, probably the average fan didn't notice, which they probably shouldn't unless they're a lunatic, is a lot of the refs there was always like 2 new ones at a lot of our games. And normally I know most of the guys just seeing them, like just for doing this for 7-8 years or however long I've been doing it.
Right.
You're like, oh, okay, there's that guy. We've had him before. There was a bunch of new ones. It's like, what is going on? Last year, this is my understanding, I may not be completely right, but I got the gist of it. The Big Ten, every conference has a signer, like I talked about earlier.
Yeah.
The Big Ten took some of the best refs from around the West Coast and used them, but they had a clause that said you can only ref Big Ten games. So a lot of our guys went to the Big Ten only, and they obviously paid more. And the Big Ten is a different conference traditionally as far as physicality. So I think they probably gave them the like, hey, what you call in LMU Pepperdine, you're not calling here. Right. You know what I mean? So last year in a couple games, we had some refs that were highly inexperienced. One that comes to mind, and I don't even know the guy's name, but do you remember the St. Mary's at St. Mary's? Graham got a technical. There was one ref that he was stuck on the sideline with Randy and Fewey for like, there was no rotation for like 6 minutes straight. They wore his ass out because they knew they could smell blood in the water. Like they just knew he was young, and he wasn't ready for that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he just wasn't ready for that game. Doesn't mean he's a bad official, but that he needs to do the other games first, get some years under. I mean, and they both were like MFing him all the way up down. Like he'd go to Fewey, then run down, then Randy'd be like, "You gonna let him talk to you like that?" You know what I mean? And then he'd come back, you know what I mean? And it was hilarious. But it was also, he just wasn't equipped. So my point is, a lot of these, to answer the question, you have to go through like kind of a circuit, and then you get latched on with like an officials association. But I don't think, from like last year, I don't think the Big Ten grabbed all those guys. So we're seeing some of the guys that we've seen 2 years prior come back.
Right.
Like in the first game, we seen so Rick Cartmel used to ref our games. His son refed our first, I think, the Texas Southern game. I ended up seeing them at Jack and Dan's after and talked to him. That's where I learned what happened last year. And one of the refs was like, this is why all the guys were gone, but they're coming back because the Big Ten is not doing that anymore. So my point is, usually on the West Coast, if you watch Arizona, UCLA, us, if you watch them on TV, you'll be like, oh, that guy just did the Gonzaga game. Usually they stay in a region, and they're kind of in the same, with the same assigners, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So to answer the question, like, you got to go to high school, and then usually you go to camps, and then usually, if you're good enough, you get into that pool. And I think it's kind of like a full-time job during the season, but I think some guys do other things in the off season. But I think those guys traditionally, probably make in the 150s to 200s. Wow. So it's a pretty good profession for 6 months. Yeah. But obviously you're graded every time, and they're good. Like, we bitch about the officials, but they're pretty accurate. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, they are. But like last year, I mean, I talked to one of the girls' coaches, Craig Fortier, last year about it. Just randomly, I saw him at a tournament. I'm like, what's going on with officials? He's like, dude, we've had 2 officials that were like reffing like JUCO the night before for us, and then reffed our girls' game, and he's like totally just not ready for the moment. And then that's what leaded up to like, why are they? And then that's what happened. It's the Big Ten and like the Big 12 grabbed a bunch, but now they're coming back, if that makes sense.
It makes sense.
So it's an extremely long answer.
No. Yeah.
But you can get into officiating. I know the Spokane Officials Association is always looking for them. We actually, and this is not just BS, we actually have really good officials in Spokane, like on the top varsity level. We really do. Like, obviously, I watch my daughter play, and I rarely leave a game like, that was really bad. Like, it's, obviously there's calls, but they're pretty consistent. There's like a group of like 12 to 15 of them that you're like, when they show up, you're like, okay, they know what they're doing. Right. But they're always looking for officials.
Yeah, they are.
Always. They always are. And it's like, I think it's a good way. And I know it sounds cliche, but like, stay in shape. If you got, whatever your weekend life is, but if you don't have like family life, like, be around the game. It's in the winter. So what else are you going to do? Yeah. If you're not like a skier or whatever.
It's a good way, and it's a good way to make some extra money.
Make some extra money, and like, you stay part of the game. And there's also good officials that ref like the 8th grade scenery too. Like, I see them all the time that are good officials as well. And they ref like lower end varsity. When I say lower end, just smaller schools, doesn't mean they're bad, but just like, the smaller schools. So you can build your way up through that. And if you have the good mechanics and everything, like, they'll move you up. And especially on the girls' side. Like, I know collegiate officials on the girls' side, like, they're always looking for more officials. So my advice would be, if you want to get into the game easily, not easy, but like a better chance, like, ref girls basketball and obviously ref both, but you'll have a better chance because they're always looking for officials. Yeah. On the girls' side, so
that's good insight. I really, yeah. We have a ton of questions about the point guards. I want to save that to next week because I think we're gonna
we got to see more. We have to see more, and that's completely fair. And I totally agree. It's 2 games. I don't think Braden Smith has been bad by any stretch of the matter. He's just got a quick leash. Yeah, and so you know what I mean, and that's something that's up to Coach Few. But I thought Mario has been good off the bench, but I thought, in the second half of that Texas Southern game, Braden Smith really got us going.
He did, yeah.
He did. That first segment, he had like 4 assists in that first like 4.5 minutes. So he's had some good stretches as well. But I think, in fairness, next week, 2 big time games, especially road game, and then obviously Creighton tomorrow night. That's the right way to do it.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
That it? Got everything?
That's it. I mean, it's going to be kind of weird next week. The first game is on Monday against Utah State. Is that right? So we won't do a real preview of the game.
No, that's fine. We'll talk about it.
We'll talk about it.
Whatever.
But then we'll be previewing the Alabama game.
Yeah, that's. Did you see what they did? Just did to St. John's?
Oh yeah,
103-96. That'd have been a fantastic game. But it's so. Yeah. That's going to be a fun one. Alabama's, and they killed us, what was it, 3 years ago at Climate Pledge? Yep. That was a weird game. I remember that game. It was like, Look up, we're like, holy shit, we're down 20, like literally like 10 minutes in the game, and it was
Yeah.
like dead silence. It was like, okay, well, it was an early game, so I was like, well, and I think we had a flight the next day. So I was like, well, I was already starting like, all right, where do Huddy and I want to go to dinner? I mean, like, let's go to Capitol Hill. So no, we've been to Capitol Hill. It's Queen Anne, you know what I mean? Like, to start to think of like what we're gonna do and like try to avoid Zag fans, like, you know, just so we didn't have to like, what the hell happened? I don't know. Fuck, I want to go eat dinner. Shut up. But yeah. Anyway, thanks for listening. Thank you to our sponsors, McGilvery Environmental, Idaho Central Credit Union, M4 CPA. Tune in next week. Thanks for listening.